We have been talking about the Data Protection Board of India, the Indian DPDP Act, and the data subject rights. The data subjects or the principals have to go somewhere if they are not satisfied with whatever is happening. And for that, we have a grievance redressal system under the DPDP Act 2023. We are going to talk about that in this video. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy, and as I mentioned, let's try and understand the details of this grievance redressal system that we have under the DPDP Act. The exact rules are yet to follow, but the basic outline is there and we are going to talk about the basic outline accordingly. So what happens when you are not satisfied with the way your data is being processed? You need a system where you can lodge a complaint. So the Data Protection Act as well as the Data Protection Board, they give you a grievance redressal mechanism to help you in case you see a violation with your personal data privacy. You can raise your concerns not only on breach but also in case your data subject rights are not being honored properly by the data fiduciary. You are not satisfied with the method of processing that is being adopted. That could be another way. Maybe they have not even taken your consent and they are retaining your data more than promised. Consent, the purpose of consent is not being honored. They take consent for something else, using it in some other way. So in any of the forms in which you find that your privacy has been violated, then you can go back to the data fiduciary and to the Data Protection Board to get your problems or your concerns addressed. It's critical to maintain the trust of Indian digital ecosystem, and it's important even for the board to demonstrate their own accountability and the fact that the entire mechanism is there to protect your rights. So if in case you are not satisfied, there is a mechanism and you can go ahead to the Data Protection Board with your redressal complaints. Who can go? Largely principals. Breach or violation is for the rights and the information of the data principal. It could be a breach of the purpose of the consent. They took your data for one purpose, but they are using your data in full or in part for some other purpose as well. Maybe they haven't even taken a consent, right? There is a failure to inform you about the data processing. They haven't even bothered to tell you that they are processing your information, which could be that they took it for some other purpose and now they are processing it for another purpose that you are not even aware of. Data subject rights are not respected. It could be many things. For example, you might go back and say, I want you to delete my data. You want them to change your address, right? So these are your rights, and if these rights are not addressed, then again you need someone who can answer it back to you. And if there is a delayed or missed breach notification, there is a breach and that has not been notified to the data subjects, or the notification came in late, data subject had already lost or got harmed because of that breach, they can still go to the Data Protection Board to lodge a complaint and get penalties imposed depending on the act. That's the role of the board, how they decide, right? So what are the steps towards lodging complaints to complaint resolution? The data principal is expected to write or submit in digital format a complaint with the fiduciary, and the fiduciary is expected to acknowledge the complaint and respond back in a defined timeline, which is expected to be around 30 days. That much time is sufficient for a fiduciary to respond back. Ideally, if it's really a compliant privacy system, then the DPO should not take even 30 days to respond back, but then there has to be a timeline given. If in case you are not satisfied with the response that you get from the fiduciary, you have all the rights to go to the Data Protection Board and lodge a complaint with them, right? So if you feel that fiduciary is not compliant, and if you feel that you are not satisfied with the response you got from the fiduciary, you can move ahead and go to the Data Protection Board, and Data Protection Board needs to act on it. We discussed this in the previous video also, getting into the example of the right to access or the right to delete or the right to change your personal information may not get answered. Why? If in case there is a legal litigation happening around that portion of process or that portion of personal data and the court says you are not allowed to. Number two, legitimate use. Both of them are covered in my videos in this playlist of the Indian law, as well as it is there in the global privacy laws also, that if in case there is a legal litigation, if in case there is a legitimate purpose, that is you are protecting it or using the personal data for a public service, maybe a healthcare research or something. However, you are still maintaining that you are not allowing the breach, right? Legitimate purpose does not mean that now they can do anything with the data, right? But they are not definitely required to come back to you for a consent or something. They are doing a research, they are helping public services improve, they are using it that way. So that should not be a problem. So possible outcomes, you go to data fiduciary, you are expected to get a response in 30 days, not expected, go to data protection board. Rules are yet to come, we are yet to define the timelines. But data protection board can send an order to the fiduciary to honor their rights if it is legitimate. If it is not, then they may not, then they may come back to you and say that, for this reason they are not able to answer to your data subject rights. Data fiduciary can also, data protection board can also impose penalties if in case they find non-compliance with the fiduciary. And further, if you are not satisfied with the response that you even get from the data protection board, you can take a judicial recourse. You can go ahead with the judicial system in the country and file your case over there. So that's how you can get your grievance answered either by the fiduciary, and if not or not satisfactory, then by the board, and if not satisfactory, then by the judicial recourse following the law of the land for the Indian judiciary. That's what about the Grievance Redressal Mechanism under DPDP Act 2023. I hope you like the content of my video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.